and welcome. My name is Savannah, and today we will be having a look at the mysterious Tricou family in The Sims 2. The Tricous are a large family who all seem to have tragically and mysteriously died one by one. If you are interested in getting to the bottom of what happened to this ghostly family, then grab a snack and get comfortable, and let's load into The Sims 2. The Tricou family is, as I stated, an entirely deceased family who formerly resided at the House of Fallen Trees in the downtown sub-neighborhood from The Sims 2 nightlife expansion. The family is made up of 3 generations, and most of the family is buried at the local cemetery, Gothier Green Lawns, which is located right next to the House of Fallen Trees. Given the massive size of their home, it appears they were a rather wealthy family. The family tree consists of 8 Sims. The eldest member of the family and the first to pass was John Smith Tricou. He died as an elder and is buried at Gothier Green Lawns, and it is unclear if he died of starvation or of old age. This is because his ghost behaves like a starvation ghost, frequently complaining about a lack of food and constantly checking the fridge. However, upon his death, his wife received an inheritance. This only occurs if a Sim dies of old age. There is a known glitch that causes ghosts, regardless of death type, to become starvation ghosts when their gravestone is moved to a community lot. Therefore, it is likely he indeed died of old age, and his appearance and behavior in-game are just part of the glitch. Interestingly, there is an NPC family in downtown, the Teens family, made up of 6 half-siblings, who all have John as their father in their family tree. However, they do not appear in his family tree, and they do not recognize the rest of the Tricou family as family members. This could hypothetically indicate he has a bunch of illegitimate kids. However, I think this is just another glitch. Inakor Tricou was John's wife, and she also died as an elder and is buried at Gothier Green Lawns. She also has a starvation ghost, but I think this is also a glitch. However, I do not think she died of old age, as none of her children have memories of an inheritance. She and John had 2 children, Yanael and Melisset. Yanael died as an adult. Her cause of death is unknown, as she too has a starvation ghost type, which I again think is part of the glitch. You will notice that all of the family members buried at Gothier Green Lawn Cemetery have the starvation ghost type. I don't think any of them actually died of starvation. I think the glitch changed all of their ghost types, and I'll explain why I think that a bit later. Anyway, Yanael had a husband named Fornan, who also died as an adult. He is also buried at the cemetery, and he has a starvation ghost type. The 2 of them had a teenage son named Freakerith. Freakerith died as a teen, and he is one of the 2 family members not buried at the cemetery, but rather in the backyard of the House of Fallen Trees. As his gravestone was never moved to a community lot, his ghost type is accurate, and it appears he died by satellite. He is the only member of the family to appear elsewhere in the Sims franchise. He appears in The Sims 3 in Moonlight Falls, the world that shipped with The Sims 3 Supernaturals expansion. However, he is still dead and buried in the local cemetery. He looks similar to how he does in The Sims 2, but he is blue when resurrected because all deceased Sims in Moonlight Falls are blue. Oddly, his cause of death is fire in The Sims 3, but I think that is just because there is no death by satellite in The Sims 3. It is worth noting that Moonlight Falls, like most but not all worlds in The Sims 3, takes place in the past in relation to The Sims 1 and 2. This would mean Freakerith was buried in Moonlight Falls and then moves to the House of Fallen Trees, which of course doesn't make much sense. The family lived in the House of Fallen Trees, so why would they bury him elsewhere and then move his grave back to the house years later? I think his appearance in Moonlight Falls is just meant to be an Easter egg and not supposed to be considered canon or contribute to the lore. Melisset Tricou is Freakerith's aunt and the other daughter of John and Yenneker. She died as an adult and is buried at Gothier Green Lawns, and as a result, her original cause of death is unknown. She had a husband named Kieran who also died as an adult and is buried in the cemetery. The 2 had a daughter named Bodwin, the final member of the Tricou family. Bodwin died as a teen in a fire and is buried with Freakerith at the House of Fallen Trees. If resurrected, she has negative relationships with everyone in the family except Freakerith. So that is the entire Tricou family. So now let's have a look at their old home. The House of Fallen Trees is a massive mansion with 3 floors and a very deep basement. The home has a spooky haunted house ambiance and is incredibly dark at night, no matter how many lights a player puts in it. Fittingly, the home is actually haunted by both Freakerith and Bodwin, as well as the ghost of a woman named Raynell Ninja. Raynell seems to have moved into the home after the family died. She died as an adult, and her cause of death was fright, likely by the ghosts of Freakerith and Bodwin. She is buried near them in the back garden. As I mentioned, the basement of the home is oddly deep, and inside there are 2 vampire coffins. It is unclear if these coffins belong to Raynell or the Tricou family, but I highly doubt Raynell had the time to dig a deep basement and place 2 coffins in there before she died, so I believe they probably belong to the family. Finally, in the backyard of the home are the graves of Freakerith, Bodwin, and Raynell, as well as a statue of the Grey Woman of Sim City. The object description of the statue tells the legend of a woman who left a turkey in the oven and died in a fire as a result. It is believed that her spirit is what prevents toddlers and babies from dying from fire. So, unlike most deceased Sims, when resurrected, all the members of the Tricou family have memories. From these memories, the death order of the family can be deduced. It appears that first was John Smith, then Yanael, then Nelisset, Kieran, Freakerith, Fornan, Vodwin, and then finally Yenneker. So I have a quick and kind of stupid theory about what I think happened to the family. Now, fair warning, I am not MatPat, so this is not a very good, very well thought out theory, but it is a silly, fun, and kind of dark one that I came up with when researching for this video. First and foremost, I think the death order, according to their memories, is incorrect. I think Freakerith and Vodwin were the last to die, hence why they are the only 2 buried at the house. If the teens died last, they obviously would not be able to bury themselves at the graveyard, which is why they remain at the mansion. However, I do think John Smith did die first, and he did die of old age. Otherwise, Yenneker would not have a memory of receiving an inheritance. I am not sure the exact order of how everyone died, but I am sure that John was first and the teens were last. The rest of the family did not die of starvation. I believe they probably each had different deaths, so maybe 1 or 2 at most died of starvation, but the rest were just victims of the aforementioned glitch. So my theory is that the vampire coffins in the basement belonged to the 2 teens, and that the 2 of them, or maybe just Bodwin, killed the rest of the family in some sort of vampirical demonic sacrifice. Both teens have a sort of dark alternative aesthetic, and they seem to get along well, so perhaps they both developed an interest in the demonic. Maybe they wanted to become vampires themselves, and came to the conclusion they needed to sacrifice their family to do so. So they killed off their entire family one by one. I am a bit torn on whether I think the 2 of them killed the family together or if it was just Vodwin, because Freakerith seemed to get along with the rest of the family fine, while Vodwin was the one who didn't like most of them. But either way, the rest of the family was murdered, and Freakerith and Vodwin were the only 2 left living at the mansion. That was until Freakerith accidentally died by satellite, leaving Vodwin alone and distraught. After all, he was the only person in the family she actually cared about. So, in an effort to resurrect him, or maybe just in despair, he attempted to perform some sort of fire ritual or sacrifice, resulting in her death. So that is my theory on the ghostly Tricou family. Not the best theory in the world, but I think it's a fun one still. Anyway, let me know down in the comments what you think of it and what theories you might have of your own. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. Also, if you are watching this video when it first comes out, I will be streaming on Twitch in a few hours, probably at 2 or 3 p.m. Eastern time. So follow me on there, link is in the description down below, and come join me if you can. Anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you have a fantabulous rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye!